Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and witnesses for being here and for your service and your families. Senator Hirono and I had a wonderful discussion a few weeks ago, and I look forward to working with you as well, Senator, to accomplish the important work of the Seapower Subcommittee. And obviously, I'm a natural choice. My state is literally the center of the North American continent. We have a monument to prove it, and we're perfectly positioned. So I have this, as I like to say, unique vantage point to observe our Navy and Marine Corps operating in all of our adjacent seas, the Pacific, Atlantic, Arctic, and the Caribbean. But joking aside, it's a critical time for our national security, and the stakes are very high, as you know. Appropriately funding the Department of Defense in order to keep this nation safe and defend our interests is, without question, in my mind, the most critical constitutional duty of the United States Congress. And it's one that I take very seriously, and I'm sure all of my colleagues do as well. To this end, I thank the Chairwoman for calling today's hearing to examine Navy and Marine Corps programs in the President's fiscal year 2022 budget request. But I must say, I am concerned, very concerned, that President Biden's defense budget request is wholly inadequate. Nowhere near enough to give our Navy and Marine Corps members the resources, equipment, and training they need, quite simply, because this budget doesn't keep up with inflation. It's a cut. There's plenty of evidence of the insufficiency of this budget within this subcommittee's jurisdiction. For example, this budget only procures 8 battle force ships, of which just 4 are combatant ships. It's a cut of 4 ships as compared to the 12 in the last shipbuilding plan's projection for fiscal year 2022, including 1 fewer destroyer, which would result in a $33 million penalty for breach of contract, which Senator Hirono addressed. The budget also proposes to inactivate 15 ships, buy 6 fewer F-35C Joint Strike Fighters, divest all 12 Mark 6 patrol craft, cut the Navy and Marine Corps munitions by roughly 10%, and it could go on. A budget like this sends China and our other potential adversaries exactly the wrong message, that we're not willing to do what it takes to defend ourselves and our allies and partners. And we should be worried about China for a multitude of reasons. But looking just at their Navy, their fleet surpassed our fleet size target of 355 ships just last year and is steadily climbing toward 460 ships in 2030. That's an increase of 105 ships in 10 years, or an average growth of 10 ships per year. Meanwhile, this budget supports a status quo U.S. Navy of around 300 ships. There's no growth. In fact, the Navy is struggling to replace decommissioning ships with new ships on a one-for-one basis to avoid shrinking. This unacceptable situation is because the Navy is not being given the resources needed to grow. My understanding is all the clever tricks have been tried. Unit manning is leaner than it should be, maintaining an aging fleet is taking a toll on our repair yards, and the marine environment is uniquely unforgiving. So new concepts such as unmanned vessels must be technically mature before we can scale up. A few specific areas I hope to cover today include Admiral Kilby. I'm interested in the extent to which the 7 cruisers slated for decommissioning could be maintained in a reduced status to enable each of these ships' 122 vertical launch system cells to remain available in a crisis. Mr. Stephanie, the last 30-year shipbuilding plan, delivered in December, projected rather aggressive submarine building rates. In 4 different years in the late 2020s and early 2030s, for instance, the plan called for 3 Virginia-class submarines and 1 Columbia-class to be built. I'm interested in your assessment of the submarine industrial base's current performance. And General Smith, the Marine Corps appears to be aggressively pursuing air defense and missile systems in the Indo-Pacific. I'm interested in better knowing how these systems can both protect forward posture Marines as well as help combatant commanders deny maneuver space to an adversary. I look forward to the testimony of our witnesses today. Thank you, Madam Chair.